Ladies and gentlemen, an enormous round of applause for our next speakers to talk about BNS. And if you don't know what BNS is, you're going to learn all about it. You're going to get a chance to see the future of the internet, the future of websites, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, an enormous round of applause for Gina and Rena of Trust Machines.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. I know there's a lot going on today, so really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm really stoked to be here. I'm Gina. I'm Chief of Staff at Trust Machines, joined by Rena Shah, our COO at Trust Machines. And today we're going to walk through BNS, which is one of the longest standing naming systems in the crypto industry as a whole. And we are going to be talking about kind of the current state and some really exciting updates ahead. So I feel like we're all here because we care about ownership. We care about sovereignty. And we want to make sure that we have sort of control over our assets and almost this land in the digital world. I feel like BNS is one of the pioneers within this space, and so it's something that I'm really excited to share a little bit more about today.
Before we go in, how many people have a Web3 identity, whether it's a BNS or .eth, a .s? Okay.
Whoop,
so
whoop.
everyone has an on-chain profile.
Excellent. Great. So BNS actually has its earliest roots back in 2014. That's when the original founders were kind of iterating and experimenting with names on the blockchain. So the earliest iterations were on Namecoin, which is a fork of Bitcoin, which was really focused on kind of decentralized identities. But it became it really migrated to the Bitcoin L1 in 2015 and allowed for folks to incorporate information onto the most immutable, decentralized, secure blockchain. So allowing folks to basically register a decentralized identity, include PGP keys, and via zone files actually include links to their websites, to bios, and more. I really feel like BNS is one of the first decentralized apps because it actually gave people control over their keys, control over this kind of small space within a broader Bitcoin L1. And I think that it's really interesting to examine these name systems because they're truly open. They're basically smart contracts where people are able to register a name, have control over that name, and it's actually a key for building out social networks. So this is truly open. No one has really control over it, and no one's mandating what you can or can't do. The early days of BNS. So we know that 2014, 2015 was an important part of the growth of BNS, but I feel like BNS in its current state, where everyone's rocking these .btc names, really started in 2021. So there was some folks hacking on stacks, kind of as a side project. Manib sends out a tweet, hey, .btc domains are live, and it went wild. There was thousands of registrations within hours. The site broke, and it was mayhem, but it was a lot of fun because you started to see people representing and being part of these communities and basically flying the flag of Bitcoin. So we saw BNS driving activity really since day one. And we have a lot of application support, a lot of folks who are building and contributing to the network effects of BNS. There's Leather, Xverse, Gamma, Boom, Seigel, a lot of early entrepreneurs. And so today, I would say a lot of that growth has happened almost in spite of itself in terms of BNS being this network for folks to build on. BNS is, it has its roots since 2014. There's some things that are actually pretty outdated and hard for developers to work around. And so we've heard a ton of feedback. There's over, again, 300,000 registrations on .btc, and people want to build around this space. They want to provide more utility, and so that has really led to BNS BNS v2, which is a project that we're supporting alongside the community from Chess Machines.
I would say one thing, all of the work being done on BNS v2, fully decentralized. This is actually community contributions from our company, other contributors, and no other namespace really takes this active approach like we have.
Yeah, this is all open source. BNS is basically like a headless organization, and it's been moving forward basically just because the community is so stoked about it and wants to see all these features come to life. So we're excited that names are going to follow sort of NFT parameters within the Stacks Bitcoin L2 ecosystem. That'll allow for people to have multiple names per address. I think we all might want to have different identities for different use cases, and that is an ease of use. And also allowing for easier secondary market operations. Gamma built a very complex setup for the secondary operations today, but it's going to really unlock the economy of BNS as well. And then there's going to be a few quality of life updates. I think people are hoping to see additional benefits in terms of name renewals, zone file updates, just ease of use. And I'm really excited about the managed namespace improvements that are coming to life too. When we're talking about namespaces, we're talking about community. We're talking about people who want to be able to find each other, interact with each other. And managed namespaces allow people to build communities and launch names. We could have a .leather namespace if we wanted to, and create the rules for that namespace in a much easier fashion. So imagine if you wanted to have a proof of attendance and allow people who only had attended Bitcoin builders to be able to actually register a .leather name, right? You would be able to airdrop that and be able to basically facilitate this process. So it provides these tools for people to build namespaces in a fashion that they so choose. So it unlocks a ton of opportunity for builders. And now I'll hand it over to you, Rena, to share more.
So kind of what Gina alluded to, the BTC v2 is an open protocol that anyone can build on top of. We have decided that we are going to launch a TLD on top of the BTC v2 namespace. It is called .locker. The idea of Bitcoin is secure. You secure it, you store it, you hold it, you put it in your locker. And so that's why we're choosing to launch this particular namespace. When you think about your digital identity in the Web3 sense, it takes you kind of all across the Web3 world. You can interact with wallets. You can bring Bitcoin in and out, other NFTs, interact in your communities, whether it be Discord or console or wherever it may be. But the Web3 side, the Web2 side doesn't quite match up. And so we are taking a first principles approach of actually matching Web 2 to Web 3. So .locker will be an actual TLD, so I can own Rena.locker, launch a proper website, do whatever I want on the Web 2 side, but it connects automatically to my Rena.locker, meaning I will have my Leather wallet or Xverse wallet connected directly to my .locker. And I can do kind of everything in one world and another world, but they interop together. So this is kind of what I imagine. What if I am an artist or a content creator? I have my normal Rena.locker portfolio. Look at my art pieces, come work with me, whatever it may be. With my Rena.locker on the Web 2 side, anyone can find me on Google search or whatever browser you're looking for and actually access what I'm building. But on the Web3 side, because they're interlinked and matched, I can now take payments in Bitcoin. I can actually accept payments on Stacks or other L2s that are supported by my resolver. And that's actually a pretty powerful thing because there is no other namespace to date that allows you to connect both of these together by keeping the same string. There are other Web3 kind of connoisseurs trying to do this on the pure Web3 approach, but what you want is to access all of the people in the world. 8 billion people are not quite in Web3. One day they'll get there with us, but they are in a Web2 world, and it is our job to bring them into our world. So we want to be a little bit Web2 adjacent. I know it goes against the ethos of everyone in this room, but if we want our on-chain world to grow and expand, this is a approach to take, so the merge for all of us being a part of one world, which is really what the goal of .locker is. It's this is one of the first TLDs that's actually in partnership with ICANN. So we have gone through all of the regulatory approval and such, and we are actually working with a lot of different JV partners to build this namespace. Hero is helping us on the dev tooling side. We are working with Tucalis, the second largest registrar in all of the world, to make sure that we are hitting as many people as we possibly can. Obviously, on the TM side, we are kind of building this, and the Leather Wallet will be supporting it. And this TLD is the first of many. If we do this right, we can launch more TLDs. I want to see a world where you can have .defi, .coin, .bitcoin, whatever it be, to actually be a website in Web 2 connected to your identity in Web 3. But it takes a lot of time and effort to bring us into that world. And so we are trying this out. We are actually getting ready to launch in September. This TLD will be available for everyone. Anyone who's an OG in the BTC community, the .btc community, will automatically be gifted a .locker from us because we want to see what more utility we can bring on into our world. This is something that I actually feel pretty passionate about. There is 460 million Bitcoin wallets right now. 2,000 TLDs currently exist. All of us have the .coms, the .ios, the .xyzs, and such. None of them connect to Web3 yet. But this is what we propose. We want all of these to come back and kind of unify as in one on-chain world. Right now, there's over 360 million domains, and this is only on the .com. I only pulled stats for like the top 3 TLDs. I didn't even bother for the rest because honestly, there's gonna be more domains than people on Earth. But that's the point. Everybody should come back into a world of Web3, and this is what we feel super passionate about. 4% of the world owns Bitcoin. Imagine if all of them had an identity, their Rena.whatever, Rena.btc, Rena.locker, whatever it be, and you could actually map this world of people and wallets and content created on websites and have it all be purely accessible, mapped out for everyone to access, use, utilize, create, and kind of bring back the magic of the internet. All of us came into crypto because we wanted to build a better internet. We actually fundamentally thought that the internet could do better if we opened up for decentralization, open governance, open community, and such. And this is one way that we think will help kind of merge all of these worlds together. I'll share a little bit of a personal story. My first website, oh God, this is gonna age me. It was when I was 5 years old. It was called Venusaur's Garden. I was a big Pokemon fan, and I wanted to make little Venusaur and other images on my world and out there for everyone to communicate. My parents hated this. This was like a terrible idea. But what if I had a wallet address or someone was paying me for my Venusaur's Garden instead of the way that I did not get to monetize myself? Granted, at 5 years old, you maybe should not be monetizing yourself, but imagine the possibilities for anybody who creates a website. You fundamentally deserve the right to monetize yourself. This is what Bitcoin was built for. Bitcoin is sound money. Bitcoin is open money. And when you connect these two together, people have infinite possibilities. And so Gina and I feel extremely passionate in a world of everyone deserves to have an on-chain identity. Everyone deserves to have your own site, and they should be linked. Hit us with questions. Anybody?
Is there a privacy layer or plans to develop a privacy layer?
On the BNS v2 side, it is open for whoever creates the TLD on the BNS v2. You get to set the pricing however you want. For .locker, I will kind of work with wholesalers on what should be the pricing, but fundamentally, if you build on BNS v2, whatever TLD you want to launch, that is you and your community's right to set the pricing. Oh, I heard pricing, my bad.
I do think it's something that's very top of mind, especially as we're bringing this to the Web 2 world, and it's honestly like we're onboarding people from this Web 2 ecosystem into Web 3. So I do think it's kind of our responsibility to determine this. However, I will say it's still something that we're working on. You know, I think we're going to have to continue to just invest, and it's something where yeah, this is a fully open source community. I would love to see, different projects come up with different solutions. As Rena was saying, with managed namespaces, I do think that there's going to be additional functionality that you can kind of play with and say, okay, what do I want to, how do I want to build my community and with, what capability? But as of right now, I would say all of those domain names are, tied to the blockchain. They're publicly available. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you all so much.
Oh, one more.
Thank you. Is this working? Okay. You mentioned everybody that has .btc will be gifted .btc.locker.
It will be the string .locker. So whatever your BTC is, like
Okay.
hello.btc, we'll be gifting hello.locker.
Okay. So the question is, I have multiple .btc names, and there was discussion around the community, like how now wallets like one address can have one .btc and so on. So a bunch of people, like I saw some of the spikes in the graph where there was multiple, like huge numbers of BTC registration. So when you went on to get the TLD, it seems like .btc sounds like, okay, it's your Bitcoin name, but now .locker, it sounds different. So what's now, is the .btc, the traditional .btc, the people that have registered, is that totally disconnect from the work that connects it to the .locker, or are these parallel channels, or so?
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Yeah.
So
How do the two go together forward, or like what's the
Yeah.
what's the relationship there in terms of the direction forward?
So we obviously wanted to make this accessible to folks, and so that's why we wanted to go with an existing TLD, which is already registered, obviously in partnership with ICANN. I do think when it comes to .btc, there's potentially an opportunity down the line to try and continue to grow the community, to continue to add functionality, especially because there's going to be more namespaces. I think that there's going to be, there's already a lot more resourcing that's going toward BNS. So that's something that I'm really excited to see. And down the line, it's something that we could, potentially this community could work together to say, hey, we would love to see that BTC TLD. It's not there yet. I think it typically takes like 4 to 6 years for like new TLDs to get released. So it's a long process. It's a long game. I think we're all in it for the long term. And we're just going to keep building. Thanks, everyone.